Hello, everyone. I am excited to share some of my favorite historical fiction page turners with you. These are just some of my favorite. It's very hard to choose for me because I love historical fiction books. But here we go. The first one I chose is The Book Thief. This book, if you haven't read it, it's a must read. It is considered a young adult book. It is probably appropriate for maybe age 13 and up. Adults would love it as well. The book is based around World War II, and the main character is Liesel. She's a 12-year-old girl, and it's a pretty heart-wrenching book, but I just love it. I think it's so well written. The narrator is Death, which is fascinating to me. And it was also made into a movie a few years back, and the movie is excellent. It's one of those rare occasions where the movie is almost as good as the book. So if you haven't read that one, check it out. The next one I love is the new one. This one was published in 2018, Susanna's Midnight Ride. And it's kind of reminds you of the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere, but it's about a girl who is, supposed to be doing her role as a girl in that time period of learning to sew and cook and things like that. But she would rather be more involved in the war efforts like her brothers are. And it's an excellent book about the Revolutionary War. It's a fun time period to read about. Another World War II favorite is Number the Stars. I love Number the Stars, and I think I've already said that before in this class, but it's by Lois Lowry, and my mom was the same age as the main character in this book. There's a lot to do. It takes place in Denmark, and again, I think I've told you that my mom is from Denmark and was living during this time. She would have been the same age as the main character in this book. And Number the Stars is a page turner. I think it is one of those books that has a lot of meaning. Something that I didn't even realize is all the books that I picked to share with you today, the main character is a female. So sorry, guys. These these ones are not reading for others. These ones are books that I really enjoy, and they are all female characters. This one is Fever of 1793. It's another page turner by Laurie Halse Anderson, and it is a little bit timely, I guess, because of the coronavirus that we have going on. It's probably one. It is about an epidemic, and it might be a little scary for a younger child to read. I would definitely have a teenager or older read it. But it's great. It has really good, interesting time, things that are happening in the time period and how this family deals with this epidemic that's happening. And the epidemic, the fever of 1793, really did happen. So it's very fascinating, interesting. And then for those of you who love like Little House on the Prairie type era books, you have to read Caddy Woodlawn. This one, it was published originally in 1935. And the author, actually, Carol Ryrie Brink, wrote stories about her grandmother, whose name was Caddy Woodlawn. And so it's beautiful. I think I might even love it more than Little House on the Prairie type books. It's just a kind of a different story. Again, the main character is a girl, female, American frontier 1860s, but she wishes she were a boy. She wants to be a tomboy, or she is a tomboy, and she would much prefer romping in the woods and doing things with her brothers than staying at home learning how to sew and cook with her mother. There is, the Native Americans in this story, the author sometimes refers to them as savages, so that could be a problem for someone. I look at the time period that it was written in, and the author actually talks about how the Woodlawn family befriended the Indians, the Native Americans, and so you may or may not be offended by the use of the word Indian or savage in this book, but I still really like the book, and again, I highly recommend it. So those are just a couple of books that I couldn't pick just one. I had to tell you about a few, but there's not a lot of time left in the class at this point. But if you still want to do some great summer reading, I recommend these ones. I hope you have a great day.